Hello guys, I'm Craig McLean and welcome to episode 16 of the Mk1 Escort RS2000 reassembly. It was my birthday in February, so I've managed to get some fantastic parts from my brilliant family and wife, and I've also managed to buy some nice parts myself. So this episode will see some really nice parts being fitted. We're kicking wiring into touch. Wiring's gone. We're going to forget about wiring for now because I want to concentrate on some of the finer things and some of the things that you guys really enjoy watching, and I understand why. Some things are just more interesting than others. So you'll see some really nice parts being fitted in this episode. A massive thank you as well to Retro Ford for this hoodie. It turns out Retro Ford, the guys at Retro Ford have been watching my videos and really appreciate what I've been doing here, and were really impressed with my work. And I was chuffed to bits about that. I really was, to find that the guys at Retro Ford have been watching my videos. It made my day, if I'm honest. So yeah, the guys have sent me this hoodie for the amount of parts I've used of theirs. Because if it wasn't for the likes of Retro Ford and GS Escorts, this car wouldn't be here, because them two companies have probably provided about 85–90% of the parts that's on this car. So huge thanks to both. And like I say, huge thanks to Retro Ford for the hoodie. So I'm going to concentrate on now fitting some of the parts you'll see coming up. And I'm hoping, and I'm pretty confident, you'll find this episode a lot more interesting. So let's crack on and get on with some of them parts. Huge thanks to my absolutely amazing wife, Yasmin, for this brand new grill for my birthday. This is from GS Escorts. She got me this grill for my birthday. And huge thanks to my mum, sisters and my brother for clubbing together to get me the brand new headlights and headlight balls, the rubber rings, everything I need to fit them. The only thing I'm going to buy to go with it is I'm going to fit a set of the LED headlight bulbs and LED side light bulbs. So from the outside, it'll look perfectly standard, but it'll have super bright white LED filaments in the lights. So yeah, I can't really thank my family and my wife enough for this. It gets the front of the car, a little bit further on. It'll give it its face. So I can get on now and get some of these parts fitted, along with some of the other bits I'm going to show you in a minute. So this is the next load of parts I've just ordered and received today. So we've got the alloy radiator, which fits in beautifully into the surround in the front that I adapted during the bodywork stage to fit the radiator. Now the car was mocked up with my mate's radiator, which is the same as this, but just a couple of years older. And the only difference is his brackets. These brackets on the side were welded onto his radiator, and because these have got bolts, the bolts actually foul the aperture as I slide the radiator in. But that's very easily gotten around by simply removing these 8mm M8 bolts and replacing them with countersunk head bolts, just making sure that they're not too long so we don't pierce through into the core. They're only about 8–10mm long, so I'm going to get some countersunk bolts to replace them with, and then that'll slide right in because I've already added satin, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm also going to polish the top up as well to a high mirror finish, as I did with the one in the Mini many years ago. It makes a massive difference. This obviously comes with the radiator fan as well. I've already ran the supply cable in for that, so that just needs connected up. It needs bolted in, and I've also got the black silicone hoses to pipe it up. I said once upon a time, I did say I would never fit black silicone hoses. I once said, what's the point in black silicone? You may as well just fit rubber. But the added advantage obviously is the fact that the silicone and they last a lot longer than rubber. Plus, it doesn't look too out of place. I don't want to go mad with this. I don't want bright blue or orange hoses or out like that. I want it to be in keeping with how it probably should be. So yeah, that's just another two parts that you'll see being fitted in this episode. Midway point, that's the headlight balls in. Nothing to it at all, just a fixing in either corner. So that's the balls in now. I'll now get on and fit the headlights. I'm not going to fit the headlights permanently just yet because I haven't got the bulbs, but I basically want to get the lights in and the grill on just to make sure everything aligns as it should. So that's what I'm going to get on with now. And with the headlights in, what a big difference that makes just on its own. When you're used to seeing it for so long without them, it makes a big difference to see it with something as simple as a set of headlights in. So I'll get on now and get the grill on and let's see how it looks. Wow, I'm in love with that. What a difference. This is what it's all about when you're building cars. When you reach these milestones and and things turn out as they do, it makes all that hard work really worthwhile. Chuffed to bits with that. All we need to complete that front end now is the indicators, which I'm going to buy shortly. But yeah, absolutely over the moon with that. Everything fits as it should. There's a bit of a alignment issue with two of the holes on the grille and the front panel. I think it's more the front panel to blame than the grille, but I've got a plan to sort that out. But yeah, really chuffed to bits with that. Just made my birthday even better seeing that like that. Now then, washer bottle. The washer bottle on a Mk1 Escort were always mounted up here. There's a bracket that mounts onto the bubble, and it mounts kind of around the bubble. And it was never ever my intention to fit it there because, I'll be totally honest, I don't like them in that location. I'm just not a fan of it. I like that area to remain as it is, you know, uncluttered as it is there now. So I always had it in mind to put it somewhere else. And this is what I've came up with. This gap here I thought was absolutely perfect to fit a washer bottle. So I basically took a measurement. I think the width there is about 150mm. And I found this one on eBay. I just had a look on eBay and found one that was the right size. That fits in there beautifully. You know, it sorts that job out nicely. It's a nice tidy fit in there, out the way, tucked out the way. So that's another little job I've just done. So if anyone wants one of them, I think they're only about 12, 13 quid, something like that on eBay. And fits beautifully in the corner of a Mk1 Escort. So that's another little job now complete and out the way. So today I'm connecting up the two front headlights, and I thought I'd just let you see two of the little neat upgrades that I'm carrying out to the headlights. And what's really cool about these is from the outside it'll look completely standard, but in the headlight ball and at night you'll really see the difference. So for starters, we've got these I think these are called Zen and White LED side light bulbs. Just replace the standard side light bulb, and they are really white. I've had them on before. And then for the main and dip beam, we've got these. These are from a company called Autofather. Basically plugs into your standard H4 connector, replaces your standard H4 lamp, and these are apparently 300 watt LED, and I've had these on, and these are super bright white as well. So yeah, time will tell just how good they are. And like I say, you can't tell from the outside. It's a neat little upgrade. They do fit into the ball because obviously at the back you'll look at it and you'll think, oh, there's quite a chunk on the back there, but they do fit into the balls fairly easily. Actually, there's plenty of room, and they've got like a little fan on the back just to keep them cool, I would imagine. So yeah, time will tell just how good, how effective they are. But for the price of them, I think they were supposed to be 30 odd quid, and I ended up getting them for 22. I thought it's got to be worth a try, hasn't it? It's definitely going to be worth a try for 22 quid. So yeah, I've already fitted the driver's side, and now I'm going to get on and fit the passenger side. Well, I know it doesn't look any different, but that's the headlights and grille now fitted properly. Cables are run into the headlights, the bulbs are in, they just need connected back into the loom, and we just need the indicators, and that completes the front. I had a bit of a nightmare fitting the grille, as I mentioned just before there, because one of the fixing screws, or rather two of the fixing screws, don't line up with the front panel, and I think it's the front panel to blame, not the grille. I'll show you a little bit of footage of that just now. Right, just to the left of the photo, you'll see a pop rivet head right there, and that is where this hole in the front panel is supposed to be. That hole there is supposed to be over here to line up with that pop rivet. The pop rivet has basically been put in to fill a hole, and I've had to drill a new hole in the grille to match up with the front panel. Absolute nightmare, but at least it's got round the problem, and the grille now fits spot on. Stunning day, eh? Car's absolutely covered in dust. Weather's glorious. I think it's time to get it out. What do you think? enough done.
Is it really heavy?
No. Not really light either. It's not really heavy.
How are you going to get the brakes back on?
I'll just come round and put them on.
Your money? Do you want me to come to the back? Do you want me to come to the back? That's it, that's it.
Right, do you want to put the brakes on?
How do I do it?
Just push down on the pad.
On this?
Yeah. That's one on. That'll hold it.
Yeah. That's two on.
So the first job of today has been to fit these bonnet buffers so that the bonnet sits level with the top of the wings, and they just obviously sit on top of the front panel there. So there's one for both sides, and these have came from Retro Bolts through eBay. Retro Bolts I've always found really good. Whenever I've ordered anything from them, it's always really top quality. And these are actually stainless steel as well. They've used stainless steel bolts, washers and fixings, so you know they'll stay absolutely mint for longer. And obviously now I can put the bonnet down, and as you can see, the bonnet sits perfectly level with the top of the wing on both sides, and it makes all them crazy hours of setting bonnet gaps during the bodywork stages, and I'm talking crazy hours it takes to get these right. It really makes it worthwhile when you see it like that, when you see it painted and sitting as it should. It's worthwhile taking that extra time to, you know, to achieve that final finish. And the second job of today is I've cleaned up and primed these window winders for both doors. This is a job I've been meaning to do for a while. I'm hoping to get the sliding glass in, maybe today. If not today, certainly next weekend. So I'll get these put in black paint next. Get some satin black on them and let you see them when they're painted black and ready to fit. I could have just put them in as the workers, they weren't too bad, but I'm a firm believer that things should be done to a high standard no matter whether you can see it or not. Just because you can't see it inside the doors doesn't mean that you'd let your standards drop. I don't think that's a good working approach. Hence the reason why I've cleaned these up and painted them. So I'll show you in a second when they're all coated in satin black. Right, that's 2 coats of satin black on the window mechanisms, and I've also released the window guides off the bottom of the old glass and primed them in etch primer. So that's just to give them a little bit of protection, and I'm now going to fit them to the new glass and hopefully get the passenger side window in today, but we'll see how we get on. So it was almost a perfect day. That's the passenger side window in. Goes up and down beautifully, nice and smooth, no issues. I was chuffed to bits at this point, so I thought we'll get on and do the driver's side. Driver's side went in, no problem at all, until I come to close the door. Closed the door for the second time, and the driver's side window just shattered for whatever reason, I do not know. They are a bit heavy to close because the seals, I probably need the thinner seals, but that does not account for why a glass should shatter like that, because like I said, the window on this side went up and down perfectly as well. No issues at all. Come to shut the door and like I say, it just shattered everywhere. So absolutely gutted. What was a fantastic day is now just being ruined, to be honest with you. But I'll have to get another window and get it sorted But this just shows you the type of things that happen when you're building a project. It isn't all roses. So guys, as was probably very apparent, I was absolutely gutted yesterday when that happened with the glass. But last night I sat down, I gave it some thought, I put it into perspective, and you've got to realise it's just broken glass. So I was beating myself up about it, I was really peeved off about it, and at the end of the day, it's broken glass. It's about 50 or 60 quid's worth of broken glass. Yeah, I could do without the the cost, but it is what it is. The main thing is, when the glass broke, it's done absolute minor damage to the door paintwork. There's a tiny little dot, like the size of the end of a needle, on the top edge of the door. You've got to look very close to see it. It's nothing worth bothering about. I polished the door, and there's no real damage. So I've been very lucky in that respect. And you've got to put it into perspective and not beat yourself up about it. And after I put the incident yesterday on Facebook, I had a guy who works on escorts all the time, Sammy from GS Escorts. He messaged me and he asked me exactly what happened and how I fitted the new glass to the runners, and I explained that on the passenger side the runner kept sliding off the glass and I had to gently crimp it onto the glass. And I think what's happened is I've maybe just gripped it onto the glass a little bit too tight, and it's maybe done some damage to the glass that I haven't been able to see, and then finally when I've shut the door, it's shattered the glass. So I'm going to do a couple of things to get around this. Sammy has said to me that the best way of fitting the runners is to bond them on using Tiger Seal. So bond the the metal guide and the rubber onto the glass, give it a day or so to go hard, and then put the glass in, because the last thing you want is the runner to pop off the glass, because then as you're bringing the window down, the window guide will pop off the glass and your glass won't be supported. So you've got to make sure that the guide is secured to the glass properly. So I'm going to take Sammy's advice, and I'm going to bond the runner to the glass when I get the new driver's side window. And I'm also going to get some slimline door seals, because the Escort doors generally didn't line up. When you close them, they didn't line up flush with the wing, in line. And I've made mine so they're perfectly in line, so all the shut lines look much better. As a result of that, you have to kind of shut the doors fairly heavily to make them latch. But you can buy slimline seals. I've had a recommendation from Lee Reynolds. He says the ones from Retro Bolts are really good. He's got them. He says you don't have to slam your doors with them. They're just a nice size seal. And these ones have been on for a good while. And Sammy did say leave them for a while and they should bed in. But they have been on for about 5 months now with the doors closed. And I'm still having to shut the doors fairly heavily. So I'm going to get the slimline seals, new glass, bond the new guide, the guide onto the new glass, and hopefully that'll see the end of it. Like I say, there's no real damage. It's just a bit of hurt to your pride, I suppose. But yeah, like I say, I put it into perspective, it's only broken glass. So we'll forget about it and move on. Right, just another couple of parts I've just been buying recently. First of all, we've got these brand new front indicator units. We've got one for both sides. You can get these with the chrome rim round the orange lens or without. I've went for the chrome rim because, as I've mentioned before, I'm a sucker for chrome. I absolutely love it. So they're brand new. I think they're made by Magnum. They came from eBay. You probably won't see them in this episode. I'll probably leave them for another episode because I'm running out of time on this video, and we've got loads of videos to come. So why not leave them for a later one? I've got these. These are super seal connectors. These are 4-pin. So basically, when the two ends clip together, they form a tight seal. When you connect the two sets of cables together, cables run into the end. They've got little rubber inserts that fit into the holes in the end of there, and the cables run through the holes in the center, so they're completely sealed, and will be used for things like the front headlights, because the connections on the front headlights, I haven't got the corresponding plug that matches the loom, so I'm going to put these modern super seal ones on, which will be hidden anyways. So yeah, they're for some of the lower power items. The only thing I don't like about the kit is it doesn't tell me what amperage rating these plugs are, hence the reason why I'm only going to use them on things like headlights and low power applications. Then we've got these clips, huge thanks to Lee Reynolds. I've mentioned Lee before in the video. Lee is also building a Mk1 Escort. This is a Mexico. And he's found me these. I mentioned to him that I've been looking for them for ages. I paid more than I'd like to have, but when you're looking for parts that are rare, you've just got to pay it. And what these are a plastic clip that go onto the internal part of your door and hold the rod that runs from your door lock mechanism up to your internal door release mechanism. It stops the rod rattling about and being a pain in the ass. So that's what they are. They're just a simple plastic clip. I've been looking for them for a long time, so thanks very much to Lee. He found these pretty much straight away when I mentioned it to him. And I think what it is, I'll have a look for a part I'm looking for. If I can't find it, I don't tend to look for it for ages, for a long time. And then I'll maybe have another look, and if I can't find it, I don't look for it for a long time. I mentioned it to Lee, and he found them straight away. So thanks very much for that, Lee. Yeah, so there's another bunch of parts I'll be getting fitted just very soon. And there's the clips I've just been talking about, and that's all they do. They just clip into the door and stop the little door rod from rattling about, and there's one for both sides. Simple as that. Little job just completed. The M8 hexagonal headed bolts have now been replaced for flush fitting countersunk stainless 12mm long fixings. They now fit pretty flush with the bracket. Stairs like these where you could really do with a milling machine to, obviously, with it being a slotted hole, it needed countersunk and slotted at the same time, which was a bit tricky. I've done it as best as I can with files, etc., and the drill bit and the pillar drill. It's turned out all right, but it would have been better with a milling machine. But anyways, that will now mean I can get that radiator in and it won't catch the enclosure. Cool. Or at least I hope it will be when it's running. Excuse the pun. But yeah, that's the radiator now bolted in properly. I'll just mention that the radiator cap is the non-pressure relief type, and that won't be staying on. I will be getting a pressure relief cap. It's just to stop the dust getting inside. I might be running an expansion tank because, speaking to Retro Ford, they recommend running an expansion tank, and I do have enough room to fit a nice little alloy one here. So I may just run one. I don't know yet. I can't make my mind up. But basically, that's now bolted in, and it's designed to fit in exactly the same way as Retro Power did Gordon Murray's Escort. So basically, these corners round here have been rounded. It's been cut back, and a lip bent back onto this section here, all the way around, in the same way that I could see from pictures that Retro Power did Gordon's, because I was a big fan of how they did that. And if it's good enough for them and it's good enough for Gordon, it's certainly good enough for me. So yeah, that's now fitted properly. It's just held in around the back with stainless steel Allen key head bolts, which fit into captive nuts in the front panel when I designed it during the bodywork days, a good few years ago that now. But yeah, that's the radiator fitted. Another little job out the way, and it really is now starting to come together. Well guys, on that note, I'm going to leave this video here. I think it's a good place to leave it. Like I've just said, I really do feel it is now coming together. That's partially down to the fact that I'm actually throwing more money into it as well, because at the end of the day, it's the only way I'm going to get it finished if I just commit to it and push it on. Like I say, I'm not going to rush it, as I've mentioned earlier. I'm certainly not going to rush it, but I would like to get it done for the back end of this summer. And I think it really is coming along now. We're not far off having a fully functioning clutch pedal, a fully functioning accelerator pedal. Brake won't be far behind. So, it is coming together. Probably the rear axle is the biggest thing that's holding it up at the minute. I haven't got an axle in it, and as soon as I get an axle built up and fitted, I can then obviously get it down on its wheels. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here, guys. Thanks very much for watching, as always. I'll see you very, very shortly with some more updates, fitting a few more new parts, a bit more progress, try and push it in the right direction. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon.